Hi, my favorites. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, in today's video, we're going to be learning how to draft this play suit. It's a highly requested video. This is just going to be the pattern drafting. The next video is going to be the sewing tutorial. I don't want the video to be too long, that's why I have to divide it into two. So, let's get straight into the video. So these are the things you're going to be needing. You'll need your fabric, your pattern paper, your bra cup, and your tools. So for the fabric that I use, what I use is a vintage crepe. That is the name. And now I'm going to be marking out my starting point, which is also going to be my shoulder line. So from there, I'm going to mark my shoulder measurement divided by 4. Then by 2, whatever I have, I'm going to mark it there. Then I'll come down by 1 inch for shoulder slope. The neck width and neck depth I'm going to use is 3 inches, 3 inches. Okay, then I'm going to connect the whole lines together. So what we're trying to do right now is just to create a basic bodice pattern. If you have been watching my video, you know that you will know how to create a basic bodice pattern by now. We're just trying to create a basic bodice pattern. So for my shoulder line, I'm going to mark out my bust point, my under bust point, and also my waist line. Okay, then after marking it out, I'm going to connect the whole lines together. After marking the lines out, I'm going to label them shoulder line, bust line, under bust, and waistline. Then I'm going to continue to mark out my armhole measurements. How to get your armhole measurement is by dividing your bust measurement by 6. Whatever you have, you add extra 1.5 inch allowance. Then I'm going to find the midpoint of my armhole. I'll come in by half inch, then I'll connect the lines together. So right now I'm going to mark my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, which is 3.5 inches. I'm going to mark it on the waistline and also under the under bust line. Please, there is no need of marking it on the bust line, okay? Just on the waist and under bust line. So on the waistline, I'm going to take half inch on both sides. Then I'm going to connect it under the bust, just the way you see me doing now. Please connect it under the bust, not on the bust point, just under the bust this way. Then the next I'm going to do is I'm going to measure my waist measurement divided by 4. Whatever I have, I'm going to add this 1 inch. I'm going to be taking out for that. I'm going to mark it back. Then I'll connect the lines together. I'm not adding my allowance on this pattern, but I'm going to be adding it on my fabric. Then on your under bust, go in by half inch, and also on your bust points, go in by half inch from the center front, the way you see me doing in this video also. So right now, going to be introducing our cup. So now this your cup, you're going to bring it, place it, make sure it is sitting perfectly on that half inch that we came in from the bust points. Okay, and also it's sitting perfectly on the under bust darts. Okay, make sure everything is sitting perfectly before drawing it out. And when trying to draw it, make sure it is sitting perfectly and do not press it down so that it won't look funny when you are done. So when you get to the end this way, just mark it out so you know where it stops. Alright, you mark it out. Then I'm going to be using my marker right now to highlight it so it's going to be very clear. I'm going to be measuring this to know if it is equal, and exactly what I have on this side is what I have on the other side. I also introduced my back curve back and it is perfectly. So out I'm going to be cutting it out right now. So guys, if you have any question or any part you did not understand, please do not forget to ask. Okay, so now we're going to be drafting the back. So I'm marking out the starting point for the back, and also I'm going to just draw out the same thing I have on the front, except the brass side, like the cup side. Okay, just see the things I'm doing the way I'm doing it in this video. Just do the same thing on your own. Okay, we're trying to mark out, draw out what we have at the front. The only thing I'm not going to draw out is this cup side. Just watch and see what I'm going to be doing. Also, the darts are going to be marking it out. Now I'm going to remove the front, and I'm going to draw out the back part and make sure it is perfect. So at the top here, I'm going to come down by half inch. I'm going to connect it together on the other side. Now on the waist side, I'm going to go in by half inch. From that half inch, I'm going to connect it on the up side. This is going to help it sit perfectly on the waist. Okay, so you will not have any bulging at around the waist side. So from that half inch, that is I'm going to start measuring my zipper allowance. From the half inch that we came in, that is I'm going to start measuring my zipper allowance. And after measuring my zipper allowance, I'm going to connect the lines together and also draw out my dart for the back. And we'll go ahead to cut it out. So right now I'm going to be cutting the down part, which is the short side. So I mark out my waistline. So from that my waistline, I'm going to come down to my crotch depth. And how to get your accurate crotch depth is by dividing your hip measurement by 4 plus extra 1 inch allowance. Whatever you have is your crotch depth. In my own case is 11.25. Then from that your waistline, you're going to measure to the length of your dress, and the length of my shirt is 15 inches. Okay, and also I'm going to measure from my waistline to my hip line, just the same way you see me doing in this video, and I will mark it out. And after that I'm going to label it waistline, hip line, crotch line, and length. Okay, so for my crotch depth, I'm going to measure my hip measurement divided by 4, and I also do the same thing, my hip measurement divided by 4 on my waistline. But now on my, I'm going to connect the line together on a straight line, but on the waistline I'm going to come in by 1 inch allowance. I'm going to come in by 1 inch. This is going to help it sit perfectly on the waist side. Okay, it will, like, you won't have any folding around the waist side. So I'm going to connect the line back on the hip measurement on the crotch. Now from that new line, I'm going to at the waist, I'm going to measure my waist measurement divided by 4 plus extra 1 inch allowance. For that I'm going to connect it to the hip line. Now on my front crotch extension, how to get an accurate front crotch extension is by dividing your hip measurement by 20. Whatever you have is a front crotch extension, and I also came up by 1 inch before connecting it. I hope you saw it on the video. I come up by 1 inch. Now measure what I have from that my front crotch extension. I'm going to measure what I have into 2, divide it into 2. Then on the down part, which is the length of this shirt, I'm going to go in by half inch on the down parts. I hope you see what I'm doing. This is good just to help give it that curve around the down part, although you're going to cut it out though. Now I'm going to extending my crotch line downward. Then I will minus half inch from whatever I have on my crotch extension, so I can connect it together also. Now the next I'm going to do is to mark out our darts for the front. Now for our dart for the front, the length of my dart is 4 inches, and I'm going to take half inch on both sides, then I'll connect the lines together. So now on the waist side, I'm going to come down by half inch, and I'll connect the line together on the other side. Then the next I'm going to do is to cut it out. So you can see any part you did not understand, please do not hesitate to ask question on the comment section. comment, ask your question. I will definitely answer. If there's any part that is confusing, please ask your question. All right. The next we're going to do is to cut out the back. Now, if you see on the pattern, I have a new pattern paper now. I gave allowance on the new pattern paper. On the upper side, I gave about 2 inches allowance, and on the side I gave about 3.5 inch allowance, and I also went ahead to extend the lines just the way you see me doing this video. Now I'm going to find that my crotch there, like where my crotch started on the front. I'm going to find it on the back and mark it out. So from that my crotch depth, I'm going to come inward by 0.75 inch. All right, but if you are very, maybe you have your hip is very large, you can come in by 1 inch. All right, depending on your measurements. On the waist side, I came in by 2 inches allowance. This is for the back. Okay, I'm going to connect the two lines together. I came in by 2 inches. This is for the back. Now I'm going to go up by 1 inch. But if your boot is very big, you should go up at least 1.5 or 2 inches, depending on how big your backside is. So now from this new line that I mark out for the back, I'm going to measure my hip measurement divided by 4, and I'll add extra 1 inch allowance, half inch allowance for ease. Okay, you need just for you to give it that freeness. Then you measure whatever you have remaining. From that half inch allowance you measure on the crotch line, you measure whatever you have that is remaining. You're going to mark it out also on the hip line so you have a straight line. On your waistline now, why marking out your waist measurements for the back, please do not mark it straight. Make sure it is not straight. Okay, then once you mark out your waistline, you also add 1 inch allowance for the dart, and you go up by half inch. You go up by half inch for the back, and you connect the lines together. Please, if you have any part that is confusing, ask your question. On the down part, I came out by half inch allowance. Then I'm going to connect the lines together also. And how to get your back crotch extension is by dividing your hip measurement by 10. Whatever you have is your accurate back crotch extension. And also from that crotch line, I also came up again by 1 inch. I hope you see what I'm doing. Just watch the video again and again. If you do not understand it, believe me, it's very easy. Now we're going to be inputting our back dart, and the length of my back dart is 5 inch. And while marking your back dart, make sure it is straight, it is not curved. Make sure your line is straight. So right now on this side, I came out by half inch. I'm going to connect it together with the back crotch depth. No, back crotch extension, sorry. So now I'm going to remove the front piece, the front pattern, so that I can work on the back, although the back pattern is already ready. So what I'm going to do now is to add allowance, 1 inch allowance on the side, half inch allowance on the waist side, half inch allowance on the front side. That is just it. Then we'll cut it out. Like I said, please guys, if you have any question, any part you do not understand, please ask. I will explain. Okay, I will definitely explain. And please do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. So now this is the back and the front. So we're going to place the front on top of the back so we can cut out the slants. Okay, we are going to be attaching our gathers or our print. So while joining the front and the back, placing it together, make sure the lines are equal. The waistline, and make sure the hip line and the crotch depth is equal. Okay, just the way you see me doing this video. Then from the hip line, I'm going to go up by 2 inches. From the hip line, I'll go up by 2 inches, and from the crotch depth, yes, I'm going to come down by 2 inches. But in my own case, I felt like 2 inches is quite too much. You can come down by 1.5 or 1 inch for the crotch depth. All right, for that slant, you can cut down by 1.5 or 1 inch. I felt like that 2 inches was a bit too much. So now I'm going to connect the line together. The 2 inches I went up from the hip one, and the 2 inches I came down from the crotch depth. I'm going to connect it this way, and I'll cut it out. And our crotch and our design is ready. Our slant is ready. So guys, please watch out for the sewing pattern, the sewing tutorial, which is going to come up tomorrow. Please watch out for it. All right. Thank you guys. God bless you all. Bye.